talk about vaginismus or painful sex with friends, family, and your partner? First off, I want to say I am so sorry that you are experiencing vaginismus or painful sex and that we even have to have this conversation. It's not fair, it's not fun, and I know this is a big challenge. But I do so admire that you are here wanting to learn, how do I speak up for myself and how do I talk about this? So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Jess. I'm a trauma-informed pelvic floor occupational therapist. I myself had vaginismus for 8 long years. It was a struggle and a battle. There are a lot of really difficult conversations that happened in that journey. But I'm happy to say that despite having tried almost every treatment possible and not really seeing the results that I was looking for, I was finally able to get past vaginismus and the pain and the struggle. And now I get to enjoy intimacy beautifully, the way it was designed to be, and it's no longer a struggle or a frustrating thing. It's a joy to be able to get there. And my heart and my hope is that you'd be able to get there soon. I get to work with women all over the world now to be able to help change the narrative and change their story when it comes time for intimacy. And so that's my heart and my hope for you too. So how do we talk about this? It depends on who we're talking to. Let's start with, how do we talk about this with our partner? And hopefully your partner has some level of understanding and awareness of what you're experiencing. But I do know for a lot of us, we can either hide or fake the pain, or we avoid sex altogether. We might not speak up about it, and it just kind of gets messy. So my encouragement would be for you to be able to talk openly with your partner about this in a time that isn't so emotionally driven. So we might not want to do this in the intimacy moment. This is a conversation that you might want to have, after you have a great breakfast and have had your cup of coffee for the day, or sitting down on the couch, just holding hands, looking at each other in the eyes, and just communicate like, hey, I am in a place where I'm not feeling great. It's not comfortable. My body's not responding the way I would hope it to be when it comes time for intimacy. It has nothing to do with you. I think this is important for guys because a lot of times intimacy things and arousal and pleasure, they take personally. We all do. But a lot of times a guy thinks that it's something he did, or you're not attracted to him, or any of this kind of stuff. And so I think just kind of giving them that like reassurance that it's not that I'm not attracted to you. It's not that you've done anything necessarily wrong. This is just my body's not reacting the way I would hope it would be. And I'm experiencing a lot of pain and struggle with this. And so have that conversation in a non-heated time where you can be open and honest and have just kind of the clearer headspace. We don't have emotions and hormones and everything raging in this, so keep it maybe out of the bedroom. Understand also that this is a vulnerable topic. Yes, for you, you have experienced the pain, but he's also probably confused by what's going on. Men don't really ever experience pain with sex. Some of them do, but it's not very common and it's not talked about and it's not well known. They don't really have a category for what you're experiencing. So keep that in mind as you share. It might not make sense to him and it might not land well. He might need time to process this. That's okay. Just be there and give safe space for him to process and for you to process too, because this is a hard thing to share and talk about. And then you want to talk about boundaries with your partner. Who's he going to talk with about this? Is he able to talk to guy friends at church or his mom or his dad or brother or anyone about like his struggles with this? Remember, sex is 2 people. And so he is also probably not enjoying the experience knowing you're in pain. And who are you going to talk to about this? Because he is equally involved. And so talk about boundaries. Who are we talking to? Who are we sharing this with? How are we going to go about sharing this? Are we going to talk to people about this? Because you are probably getting questions potentially about when are you going to have kids or how's intimacy going, and you have to have a response, and he equally might be getting those questions. So make sure you're on the same team when it comes to how you're responding. Which brings me to my last point when it comes to the partner. You are on the same team. It's really easy for this to be a my problem, his problem, separation, but remember, you two are coming together as one. You are a team in this approach. And so when it comes to intimacy, whether that's sexual pain for us or sexual struggles and sin for him or all of us, all this brokenness leads us to feeling isolated, broken, and alone. And that's not what intimacy is. So I would encourage you guys to come together as a team and fight for your relationship. Fight together to see healing. Fight together to see growth and to see forward progress and to see restoration happening, because intimacy is so worth protecting. And so you two get to be together on this. That takes open conversations. That takes vulnerability. That takes being willing to show some wounds and some scars and some pain and some struggles and have tears, but also know that there's going to be laughter and there's going to be joy and there's going to be a coming together that's so sweet and beautiful. So my biggest encouragement is, remember, you are a team and you fight for each other, healing in this journey and really making intimacy thrive. All right, so that's How do we talk to our partner about this? In our Mind, Body, Sex Reset program, we have a whole bunch of resources for partners. We have a whole partner mini course for them to learn more about how to support you, how to support themselves, what is vaginismus. We also have partner support calls, all kinds of stuff to help partners feel supported in this, because we do know it's hard for them. And so we do want to equip the guys and for you to be able to talk with him about this journey a lot better. So we see them. We know that there's two people when it comes time for intimacy, and we want to support both of you. But what do we do when we are talking to family? Particularly mothers or mother-in-laws, because it's inevitable, it's likely coming. The question, when are you guys gonna give me grandkids? When are you gonna have kids? Maybe it's your sister, maybe it's his sister. Someone's asking. So what do you say to them? Well, first off, you don't have to tell them anything. You are not obligated to share this. This is between you and your husband. You do not have to share anything about this. So give yourself that freedom. You're not obligated. You owe no explanation for your life and your current situation. Now, if you do want to share, I really would encourage you to come back to that team approach. You lay out the boundary that this is something that me and my partner are working through together. We are prioritizing this. We are working towards healing. You're trying to set the stage that, like, we've kind of got this. Thank you for your concern. Because what happens if you don't establish a boundary, we're gonna get unsolicited advice from the mother-in-law about what we should do, and here's how to do this, and have you thought about this way, and here's this thing that can help you get pregnant that you don't have to actually have sex. And I don't know if you necessarily want that. I know you probably don't need that in your journey. That's added pressure, that's added opinions and worries and everyone else kind of coming into a very, very personal bit. Now, maybe you have that level of relationship with your family, and that's good, but I would say clear boundaries are going to be helpful for us. And so if you do want to disclose that you're struggling with vaginismus, educate them on what vaginismus is. Really emphasize that this is an involuntary reaction. You have no control over it, but you are working to support your body to get there. And so highlight that you are actively pursuing what it takes to get past this, and that you appreciate the care that they have for you, and say, if there's something that you would like to do to really help us, we would really love prayers. We would really love for you to just intentionally be supportive of us, but trust that we are really actively fighting in this process together. I can't overemphasize the importance of setting a boundary when it comes to family with this. I also want to throw in the importance of treating this conversation seriously. A lot of times when intimacy, sex, and all these things are brought up, people react in weird ways. You may have experienced this. There's oftentimes some immaturity that comes out. There's jokes that are made. There's things that are said to try and lighten the mood, because people, when they feel uncomfortable, they do weird things. So make space for that to happen, and be prepared if a comment is said that's like, that's not okay. And set a boundary, like, I'm taking this conversation seriously. It's not okay for you to say that. This is my body and this is our intimacy, and we take this seriously. So go ahead and just set that as the tone for how this is going to be, but also just kind of prepare yourself that there may be a weird, awkward reaction that happens. That's human nature. When people don't feel comfortable, they don't know what to say, and often say the wrong thing. Just correct it gently, have grace, offer forgiveness, and just set the tone that this is serious. This is something I'm going to take serious with my health. Make space too to answer those questions. They may have questions, and you don't have to go into full detail about all the burning and stinging and where it is and what he does for foreplay and how that leads. They're probably not educated on this, and so let this be a time that you can do a lot of great education for it. If this is your personal mom, dad, family that has been for your upbringing, they may feel like this is personally their fault that you have this. Be prepared for that, and if you want to say, like, yeah, you raised me with a wrong view of sex and intimacy, be prepared for that to be a heavier conversation. If you don't want to bring that up, that's okay too. You don't have to disclose, like, yeah, you raised me wrong, or yeah, this is a misteaching that was happening in my upbringing. You don't need to disclose that, but if you want to, just be prepared. They may take this personally. And then go ahead and tell them what boundaries you have. Please do not share this information with anyone. Do not post this on Facebook. Great Aunt Sally does not need to know about this. And if another family member asks you why we have not had kids yet, just say, I don't know. You should ask them, and we will be the ones to choose whether to disclose or not. Try to communicate that they don't get to speak on behalf of you, that this is your personal story that you chose to share with them, and you would appreciate that they respected that boundary. This is all about respecting boundaries. Hold firm to them and remind your family that you and your partner are on a team together, and this is your journey, and you have chosen to invite them into this little snippet of it. But again, you don't have to tell them anything. You don't owe them any excuse. You can just say, like, hey, thank you for asking. This is private, and we're going to keep this between us. We promise that we will let you know if there's something significant that we want you to know. And that's it. You walk away. For my people pleasers out there, I know that's a challenge, but I promise it's worth pursuing what that looks like, because it's going to help support your body way more than you think it will. And then, okay, let's talk about boundaries with others. What about friends? What about church leaders? It's up to you, again, if you want to disclose any of this stuff. It is sometimes nice to have a close friend that you can talk to about this, whether they have vaginismus or not. Just being able to not have to hold this internally is beautiful, but also make space, kind of like we talked about with the family, for recognizing that they don't probably know about vaginismus. They might say a weird thing, they might react awkwardly, and they might not want to bring it up again. You just prepare yourself for that, but it might be worth kind of just having a buddy in this. In our Mind, Body, Sex Reset Vaginismus program with Pain-Free Intimacy, we have support groups that we have for our women. These are groups of like 2 to 4 women that are there for each other in prayer, encouragement, and just to be a shoulder to lean on, because we know the value of having a buddy in this. We've had clients fly across country to meet with one of their support group members because it's such a valuable resource to have a friend on this journey. Whether they're in that or not, having someone to talk to who's not your spouse or your partner might be of benefit. Again, there are great resources out there for vaginismus support groups. We have ours within our program to really help equip and support women better in this, because being in this journey alone is not a beautiful thing. With vaginismus, we already feel so isolated and so broken and so alone. And so whatever we can do to combat that, I would encourage you to do that. Being alone and isolated in this really just kind of keeps us in that state of broken feelings where we don't see the progress we need, we don't feel motivated, we lose hope because we feel isolated and different. But when you have others who are on this journey, who have also done weird, awkward dilator sessions in this odd position and spilled lube all over the pillow, and you have someone you can laugh about that with, that makes healing a little bit more enjoyable. So my encouragement would be find your tribe, find those women that can be with you in this. We would love to be that for you. I would even just love to talk with you and tell you you're not crazy, you're not alone. There's hope. And we can talk about what does that journey look like for you to get past vaginismus, throw those dilators in the trash can, and literally move on to bigger and better things. That's our heart and our hope at Pain-Free Intimacy. You don't have to fight this alone, and you don't have to let this be your narrative. We can change this because we know that sex is worth it, and you are worth pursuing beautiful intimacy the way God designed it to be.